Hi, and welcome to Running Rants with Helen. I'm Helen, and this is where I rant and talk about whatever I want. I might be heavy breathing a little bit because running up a hill. I just finished doing a workout in Tennessee Valley, outside of Mill Valley. It's so nice here. I did 3 sets of 5 by 1 minute easy, 1 minute hard, and it was a lot of fun. And now I'm on my cool down. So today I wanted to rant about FKTs, or fastest known times, because I feel like some really big records have been broken lately. Like Tara Dower broke the AT record, which was so cool. She's so cool and so tough, and she's raised like almost $100,000 a coyote.
Oh.
Don't feed him, you'll get a $125 fine. She's raised like almost $100,000 for Girls on the Run, which is so cool. And then Nick Fowler just like crushed the Arizona Trail FKT. I think he did it in like 12 days or something. I don't remember, but crazy. And so I've just been like thinking about FKTs a lot. Oh, and also because a girl followed me and in her bio it was like 19 FKTs. And so then I went and looked her up and I got a little pressed about it. Just because, like I said, with like Tara and Nick, and then like some of the other FKTs, I feel like there's such a wide range of what is considered an FKT. Like I looked up what you have to, like what it has to be considered one, and it's either like 5 miles or it has like 500 feet of gain, and it's supposed to be notable, but like that's just so up to interpretation, because then I think it starts getting mixed up between like what an FKT is and just what like the Strava segment leaderboard is. And like I don't think I know exactly what like the specification should be for something to be considered. I feel like there's like a lot of room for discussion around that, but I also feel like you shouldn't just be able to call some random thing in your backyard an FKT because you submitted it to the website. Because at one point I was also looking at like who had the most FKTs, and like over half of them were just like random things that they submitted, that then they were the only person who did it, and then they had the FKT for it, which I think is just silly. Also, then there's like the, like, so I have the Mount Whitney FKT, and it's like 20 miles and like 6K of vert. And although, I mean, it's not like super long, but I do think it's notable because it's the tallest mountain in the lower 48. So I feel like that kind of makes sense. What I didn't think made sense is that there's an ascent record and a round trip record. And like, how are you gonna go up and not go down? So I feel like it just should be whatever makes sense. Like with rim to rim, you could like run across and get picked up. But if you run to the top of Whitney, the only way to get down is to go back down. I did submit for both though, just because I did get the uphill one and everyone else did it. So I did too. And I think then that goes, I like kind of lost it, but that's what goes back to the like, the person who is like, I have 19 FKTs, but like one was like an uphill, one was a round trip, and then one was the downhill. I feel like it's silly to count it as 3 when you just ran up and down a mountain once. And then I was looking, because then I just started looking. I started looking at like the FKTs I have, and I have like Mount Talac in South Lake, which honestly, I don't even know if that should be considered an FKT. But regardless, I have it unsupported. And then someone submitted for self-supported and has it, but it's an hour and 45 minutes for a 10-mile route. Slower. But I don't even know how you would self-support it. And so sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I think FKTs are really cool. I think they're like a great way to tune up for races and like a great way to have a hard effort, like especially if you're not doing multi-day stuff. Like I found them really useful for that, and it's fun. But sometimes I feel like there's just like such a widespread definition that it almost like diminishes it, because like running up Tallac or running up like your neighborhood road is not the same as like doing the Appalachian Trail or the PCT. And I don't think that every FKT has to be multi-day, but I do think that they should be well known enough, and it says this, like, to be repeated, but I think that's just a little loosey-goosey. Also, having supported FKTs on things that are like 5 miles is also silly to me. I don't know. I don't understand wanting to run up a mountain with pacers. That was a big rant. That was a big hill. Yeah, in conclusion, I think FKTs are really cool. I think that they're like a great way to like compare yourself to other athletes, even if you don't ever get to race against them per se. And I think it's fun that, like, unlike races, you get to choose perfect conditions if you want, and like you get to choose the time of day and the time of year, which can have a huge impact. And I think those parts are really cool, but yeah, definitely just not the same as a race. And sometimes I feel like it's just a Strava segment leaderboard. Any questions?
Yeah, a couple things. So first thing on support, on the classification of unsupported, self-supported, or supported, like you did Tallac with MK.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't provide each other any support, but you did have each other as sort of morale boosters, I guess. So in your mind, kind of what constitutes an unsupported effort versus a supported effort?
Well, honestly, that's like the FKT classification, which I also find kind of stupid, is that like if I ran it with you, then it would be considered supported because you're a man. But if I run it with another girl, then it's considered unsupported, which I just think is dumb. Because what if I'm the one dragging you up the mountain?
Which you would be.
So I guess there's that. Also, I don't know if MK and I were like, I don't know. It was just like a fun day running up a mountain hard together. And then we're like, oh, also, we beat the time. I feel like it ends up being more of a that thing than like, I'm gonna find pacers.
Yeah. Okay, and then on sort of like how FKTs should be notable in some way or another, what about for people who are kind of trying to test themselves and may not have resources or access to competitive races? Do you think like doing FKTs is a viable way to kind of test yourself or get noticed?
I mean, if you do notable things, like absolutely. I still think that like brands care a little bit less because there's like less recognition or coverage. So there's like less return on investment. It seems like, although that's not always true. Like I said, I feel like it kind of depends like on the FKT you're doing. Like I don't know, if you go crush like the PCT, fastest known time, or like rim to rim to rim, like I think brands would be really likely to take notice in that. But those are also like geographically dependent. So I guess if you live near a notable one, or like, I don't know, if Killian like went and did something and then you took it from him, even though you might have spent like months training and that was like a Wednesday for him, I think there's probably like some recognition that brands will give you. And we're on the downhill.
Yeah.
I can breathe again.
It looks a lot better too.
I know that probably did not look like a lot of uphill, but I did just gain 500 feet in a mile, so.
Nice. Let's see. Oh, talk a bit about the sort of, we talked a little bit about how like the FKTs are different than races because there's no tactical element to it. It's more of a time trial. So it sort of allows you, if you're able to push yourself, maybe to get the most out of yourself, where in a race, you may be playing a tactical game a little bit more. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you're like more, I mean, I feel like people always say run your own race, but like sometimes if you lose contact, then like that's that, or it's not. But like if you're doing an FKT, that whole element of what other people are doing is kind of out the window, and you have like what previous people have run. So like you have splits, where like, you know, when like that exact person who you're like competing against like got to that point, whereas in a race I feel like there's more like factors of unknown, and like I said, you get to choose the day that you do it. So you can choose like a beautiful sunny day, or a cooler day, or a day like where you feel really good, instead of like having that date predetermined for you. Like with Whitney, I had like the person who had the round trip and the person who had the ascent were not the same person, and so I just wrote down the mile split for all 20 miles of whoever ran the mile faster. And so I knew like if I was faster than each of those miles, then like I would for sure have it. And I think I ended up beating like the uphill record by like 15 minutes, and then the round trip by like 25.
Personally, like what are there, you've got Whitney, you've got a few pretty notable FKTs. Is there anything like in your long-term future, any FKTs that sound appealing to you, and why?
Yes, there are a few. I mean, someday I'd love to try to get rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon. I've run there a few times, and it's just so cool and so pretty, and I feel like, I don't know, I love the Grand Canyon, and it would be fun to like try to run fast in there. Yeah, except I also, since I've run there, like I understand that it's kind of like specific to going down and then up and then down and then back up, and then also like the steps going down are not as like smooth. Like it kind of messes with your gait a little bit. And then especially you have to time it with like people and donkeys, and if it's not too hot at the bottom, and if the water's still on. So I feel like there's a lot of things with that one. And then I'm nowhere close to like trying these ones, but I mean, Tahoe Rim Trail would be really cool just because it's in my backyard. But 171 miles is really far, and Corinne has it still, I think, and it's fast. So I don't think I'm quite in my career like ready for that one. And then there's another one that's even longer, which is the Tahoe Yosemite Trail. And so then that goes from like Tuolumne Meadows to Meeks Bay and South Lake, and I could run like another 30 miles to make it around 200 and make it to my house. And so I feel like it'd be really cool to like be dropped off and then just run to my house. But that's like one of those things too, that one's not notable. Like a woman hasn't done it on the website. I mean, I'm sure someone's run it. And so like even if I did it in like 6 days, I would still get it, which, I mean, obviously I think I would try to do it as fast as I possibly could, but that's one of those things too, like that FKT, I have like some FKTs on my podium bonus structure, and so like Hoka has decided some that they feel like are notable enough that like they understand it takes like almost the place of a race, and so like I'm also financially incentivized to do those. But when I signed my contract, I got the Tahoe Yosemite Trail added because I thought I was going to do it last year, but I don't think I'm ready to run 200 miles. I don't know, Mount Tam here would be cool, but I feel like that's a super notable route, but like we kind of talked about it, like should it be considered an FKT? But it is kind of like the tallest like mountain thing around here, and also it doesn't have to be uphill to be considered an FKT. So I feel like that one would be like fun to try to go after too. But I don't know. I have like one at home called the Seven Summits Loop, and most of it's not on trail. That's one of the ones that like if someone took that from me, like they can have it. I did it my birthday week like 2 years ago. I remember crying and being like, I just want to be on a trail again. But then I had fruit snacks, and every single time I thought something negative, I had to think of something I was grateful for and eat a fruit snack. So that's one of the ones that like if someone took it, I don't know that I would try to get it back. If someone takes Whitney, I would definitely try to get it back. Because that was, I think I got that in like 2021. No, maybe it's 2022. Yeah, it was 2022. And so I feel like I'm a much better runner than I was then. And now I've been up Whitney, so I feel like that would help too. But yeah, I think that's really the only one that if someone took it, I would try to take it back.
Awesome. I think that's good on FKTs. I guess aside from that.
Oh no!
What?
I didn't have my watch going. I paused it at some point.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh well.
Yeah, I guess aside from FKTs, just how's the body feeling? How's training feeling? Just a quick update on all things Helen.
Yeah, body feels fine. I ran 80 miles last week, and I haven't run that much probably since like September, and all feels good. I kind of ran a lot though, and I don't really know what I'm training for. I asked Rick, my coach, if I was training for the mile when he said, you could do a workout, and I said okay, but then I said, is this mile training? And he said nothing. He ignored that part of my question. So yeah, I feel good. It was actually like fun to do a workout. I feel like I don't do them very often, but it was like fun to try hard and to get a little scary on downhills and to wheeze a little bit on uphills. So yeah, I had a great time. And oh, also really quick,
Go this way.
if you're interested in how these videos are filmed, they're filmed by my boyfriend. His name's Jacob, and and he made a video explaining how he films these and how they're so silky smooth, except maybe this one a little bit less. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. That was amazing.